Base resonator here. One of my subscribers mentioned how he really appreciated me trying to make the tree frogs look realistic. And so somebody had been talking about poison dart frogs, and I looked up pictures on that. Man, there are a lot of different varieties and variations of the pointed dart frogs. So I came up with two. Oy, that one just fell right out of my hand, just like a real one. Be all slippery. One is this orangish color with a bunch of dots. The other one is blue and purple with dots and lines. And it just so happens that wherever it's black does not glow in the dark. And the feet do not glow in the dark, but the rest of them do. So he said, can you make a leopard gecko? Well, I don't have the regular gecko mold, the one with the big old fat tail. This is more of a salamander, but the shape of the head looks like it could go for a gecko as well, and it does have the little ridges in the tail, so I thought, sure, I'll try that. So I've got some eyes out here, and I put them with the direction of the pupil because a gecko is a reptile. Salamander is an amphibian. So for an amphibian, the iris would go that way. For a reptile, the iris would go that way. So I put those little lines on the back. Now this is a sticky back glass eye that comes from for fishing molds and fishing lures. So what I did was I had to go right in front because I was going to lose control of it. I'm going to place them into position, and my UV resin bottle is really sticky. I must have dropped a drop of resin on there. But I'm going to be using the Let's Resin UV resin that's made for bonding. I find that I have better luck with this than regular UV resins. I'm going to get that eye off of there because I'm going to have to move the mold. Hopefully I can do this where you can see what's going on. Now there is right where I'm tapping with my finger, there's an indentation there where the eye goes. So I'm going to put a drop of resin, UV resin, in there. Now it is in place. And I have to make sure that this eye goes in the correct way, oriented the correct way. And geckos can look a little bit forward too, so I need to try and make this get in there. Okay, it's correct orientation, but now I need to push it towards the front of that indentation so that it'll be looking forward. And I have my, well, that eye is trying to turning you into an amphibian. Come on now, don't be doing that. There we go, that's just what I want. So then I use my UV flashlight and I hold it there for a little while. And then I'm going to go from the outside in, and I'm not going to show you exactly what, because you really don't need to be looking at that. But you need to cure UV resin from both sides. If you don't, you're going to end up having a really sticky mess when you try to unmold. So I learned this the hard way. So one eye should be set in place now. And let's see. Yes. Can you see it? Yep. Now for the other. I'll figure out exactly where that is. Okay, I can see a dent in there, but I don't want to. Come on. Okay, looking up towards the top. And then push it towards the front so he can be looking forward. Because a gecko's face is an interesting face. I don't know if this is going to make sense. Triangular shape towards the front, so their eyes go that way, and they can see a little bit forward, whereas a lot of animals, birds and, well, not birds of prey, but other birds, if they want to look at you straight on, they have to turn their head sideways and look at you that way, which is kind of fascinating. A leopard gecko or a tiger salamander, very similar color patterns. The eye, like I said, the eye direction is totally different, but they have similar patterns. And what I'm going to do, I liked that glow in the dark feature. So I think I'm going to go reverse coloring on this. I don't know. Or maybe I'll make it the color of a tiger salamander, but we're going to call it a gecko, so because the eyes are placed in the correct way. But I'm going to be using a lot of UV resin. Yeah. So he should be looking forward. Yep. Yes. Good. I'm going to be using a lot of UV resin to put the pattern into the mold, and I will not be using this resin for that, but I will be using glow-in-the-dark powders, mixing them in with the glow with the UV resin, and then dab them into place with my little silicone tool and put them in the desired pattern that I want. And then there's one that's even better looking. It's called the fire salamander, which the whole body is black, but there's this pattern of this glowy yellow orangish, looks like fire. Aha. I used yellowish gold, yellowish orangish goldish, whatever. It's a fascinating color of the eye for this thing. I really like recreating nature or copying nature, because I think God did a really good job coloring his creatures, and it's our fun to try and redo all of that with our art. Well, at least for me it is. I know geckos and salamanders would never be able to cross, but I'm going to make a cross. I'm going to make a fire gecko. Don't know if that even exists. I can look it up after a while, but that's what pattern I'm going to be using. So I'll come back at you after I get all my colors that I'm going to be using mixed up. I'm going to be using a little bit of yellow and a little bit of orange, maybe even a smidgen of red, and in little pots, and then I'll grab that torch. And I will be only curing from this side at first, and then I'll put the thing under the lamp. And this is no ordinary lamp. Yes, I'm sorry. I really like the Aladdin. Robin Williams is specifically in there. And then I will cure it from both sides. So hang with me. This is going to be fun. Well, I just looked it up, and there is such a thing called a fire gecko. And I want to do this. Okay, so glow-in-the-dark powders are on the expensive side, and you have to use a lot in order to get it to work. So I'm not going to do this guy all glow in the dark, but do you see where there's this brighter patch of orange, and here and right around here and a little bit on the tail and the back of his legs? That's going to be glow in the dark. The other is going to be an orangish yellow color, and I will do white and black. And this black, the black dots on the tail and here and there, I'm going to use black UV resin for that. I think I'm going to use some white UV resin where on the tail, because when I put in that yellowish color resin for the body, that's gonna, if I put white mica or something on the tail just to dust it, it's gonna lose its color with the yellow underneath. So if I use the white, so I'm exposing all kinds of little secrets that I do, but this is my firebrand. This is my fire gecko that I'm gonna be using. So I'll keep on mixing up resin. Okay, I've mixed up my colors. Black, white, magenta. There is no real red glow in the dark that looks anywhere near the right color, so I got magenta, yellow, and this is a mix of salmon and gold. And I thought, man, that looks really close to that dude there. So there are only a couple spots where I see anything that looks similar to this reddish, what I will call red, glow in the dark. And I keep looking over my picture, over my shoulder at the picture on my computer screen. It's right around here at the nape of the neck. And I don't want to make it too thick because then it'll start rolling in and going self-leveling, and I don't want that to happen. Okay, then there's a spot right between his hind legs. What I will do is I will cure this. See, it already self-leveled a little bit right there. It's pooling. Now, smart thing to do, if you're going to use a UV light, get everything else out of the way or it's going to cure, and I don't want that to happen. And then this is going to be surrounded by yellow. This one over here in the front needs to spread out in the line. I'm blocking it, the others with my hand, so I'm sorry you can't see what I'm doing right here, but you'll see it when I'm done. Because it'll keep the shape. Now it's keeping that line and it's keeping that other shape back there. Now I'll go over it again and it'll stay, and it'll be more not translucent. What's the word I'm trying to find in my head? Come on, Tim. Starts with an O. Well, y'all know what I mean. You can't see through it. I don't know, man. Why do I come up with a blank right now? Okay, that's good right there. And you go about 10 seconds and it'll semi-set. Semi-set, yeah, You can tell I'm a truck driver. No, I'm not. But just trying to be punny. Now there's a little bit on his elbow area, what I call his elbow, this joint. And I'll go ahead and make that thick because I don't mind if that pools together. Opaque. That's the word I was thinking. Man, why? I just had a... Sorry, I had a brain fart. That's what my students call it. Sir, you had a brain fart. Yeah, I sure did. Okay, so used up that. Okay, the patterns have begun, and I need to get this paper towel right here so I can clean off this tool. And I'll leave that little bit left over because I may need it later, but I'm going to move it out of direct sunlight, out of direct light. This pink thing back here in the back, he has white around it. Now I'm not holding it there for an awfully long time because I don't want it to cure all the way through, because if I cure it too long, the cured resin will peel away from the mold, and then stuff can get down underneath when I'm pouring the other resin later on, and I don't want anything else to get underneath. So I'm curing it just long enough to hold it in place, and then I'll be able to do more with it later. And remember, this yellow is glow in the dark. Now I don't know if any of you have messed around with glow in the dark powders. They sound like you're when you're mixing it up, it sounds like you're mixing a bunch of sand. It's really grainy, so I don't know what the substance is that causes it to sound like that, but it feels awfully strange under the fingers too. Okay, so this pretty much outlines this white, and then that orange is going to take the rest. And they're already glowing. Look at that. That's so fun. Okay, now there's some around this backside too, around that target area. I'll call it a target because that's what it looks like to me. Now usually within nature there are certain colors that animals have that are there on purpose, that are for survival of some sort, but I'm not sure of the coloring of this, what it's actually supposed to be. Now when I do this, the pour, I'm going to do an orangish, a darker orange than what I'm putting in with this other, but I am going to not pour it all the way. You see, that's why I kept that tape around here. There's a little, I don't know what. And then the bottom side of this lizard, it looks like it's all white, so I will do a layer of white after the... See, doing this with regular resin because you'd have to put these little dams in the way. And then there's another little white right before the tip. And I'll make these thick enough to where their opacity level is good. Now, nature a lot of times does not do things with a direct correlating pattern, so I'm going to not have these exact. Now remember, I have not cured the underside yet. I'm still waiting on that till I get all of these UVs in place. Okay, white is now out of the picture. Now black. Black, black, black is the color of my true love's hair. Her lips are something rosy fair. Okay, there's a whole bunch of dots up here on his forehead. And this black is not super black, because if you get too black or too opaque, then it won't cure. Just got some on the outside of that dish. With UV resin, the light, ultraviolet light, has to be able to pass through for it to be able to cure. So that's why they have a bit of a translucent nature to them. And the black and the white, if you let them go completely black on the color spectrum or completely white, UV light won't penetrate, so you have to have it a little bit like shades of gray. So that's why I'm doing this pattern right here, going over it, because that first one cured enough for this to be able to cure over the top of it. And by having that other UV resin there should be a little bit more surface tension and to hold it in place, so it shouldn't pool as quickly. I say that, I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. Now I'm wondering if I should try and take that pattern on the tail all the way up around the edge like I think it does in the original. Or on that picture that I saw, that I showed you guys. Okay, let me explain what I'm going to do, and then I will do it off camera. I'll take this pattern that's here and just take it all the way to the top of the mold. And then I'll have to turn it over so I can get the other side. And right now this is awfully translucent because I'm doing one. I'll have to come back and do another layer over the top of that. So what I'm going to do is I'll do both sides of the tail, just what I did there, lifting it up. So I'll go down here and I'll do the black and I'll do the white all the way to the top, and then I'll do the other side as well. So I'll come back to you in just a bit. Well, that didn't take too long. It was just having to turn him on his side both ways. So I got white and black going all the way up the tail. And in this middle section where there's dots, there's more white dots and black dots on the sides. And white and black all the way down. And in this middle part, I left a gap because it looks like there's a little bit of orangish in there. I got the back of the legs a little bit better. Okay, now with the main color, which is going to be the fun part. It's like going right from here to here. You know what? That looks like it had settled in the time that I had stirred it up originally. And I want that granules or whatever the powder is not to sink away. Now this looks like it goes all the way up on its ear, so I'm going to go turning on its side and do. This over here. It's already glowing. And now I'll come back and do a little bit more over the top of it. And then it tapers this way. Now that black is already down there. That's going to be the first thing that's being seen once we unmold. So don't you worry about a thing. I know that's not really in the base range, but I got a wide range. I don't know if you can see those glowing right there. Then I take the light off. Yeah. That'd be so much fun. Okay. And then he's got another patch right in the middle. Now these glow-in-the-dark colors, I did not tell you earlier, these powders, I got them from Let's Resin in the pack that they sell. I am not sponsored by Let's Resin. I do have a code. I will put it in the description of this video that you can get a little discount. I'm not sure exactly how much it is, but I don't get paid by them or anything else. I just happened to have, when I first started with resin art, I happened on them and I have liked their products. So turn him that way. It is you put your nails under there, but I can cure a larger area than this flashlight allows. So it makes it nice to be able to do the underside. I'm going to cure the rest of this right now with this way. And then I'll turn him over. And I'm wiping off my... Okay, there's that. It came back on. Move the toothpick out the way. Move that pot out. You know what? I can cure those now and it'll make it easier to clean them up. Dun, da, da. By the light of the silvery moon. Okay, so then I'm going in. See, this is a translucent mold, so it'll cure both sides. Makes it easy, makes it nice. So that's how I'm going to cure both sides, and then I will mix up the other resin and I'll come back to you then. So see you after a while. Can't remember how much resin this mold will hold, but I'm going to mix up about 3.5 ounces, and I'm going to put, I have a mica set that had a bunch of really cool colors. It's from Prime Crafting. And I'm going to use a little bit of orange, mostly golden yellow, to fill in around here. I don't want to go just straight orange because the way that picture was, it was a little bit toned down orange color, so I'm going to tone it down with the golden yellow. So I'm going to mix up my resin right now, and then I'll get back when it comes time to mixing those in. As I was mixing, I was sitting here thinking, you know, that bottom layer, let me move this over so you can see, is supposed to be a white belly, and that's all fine and good. Give that 1.5 scoops and 1/2 scoop of orange, and I think will be the right color combo. So what I thought about doing after this bottom, or what is going to be his back, the top level, but bottom for me, I could use for his belly area some more glow in the dark, because I have, dun dun dun, Let's Resin glow in the dark glitter white. Now it's got a couple other colors in there, but that might be kind of cool. I haven't decided that yet, but so now when you're mixing in mica, go slow at first. You don't want to go real fast anyway. You'll introduce a whole bunch of extra bubbles. But if you start going too fast, the mica is powder and it's just going to go poof, and you'll have a big mess everywhere. So don't do that. So I'm mixing it in slowly till I get it pretty well mixed. And then you have to keep going back to the sides, because it'll collect. See how it's collecting over here on this, collecting on that side already? Yeah, I'm out of the picture already. My hand's in the way. Can I do it left-handed? Not well. If you missed the episode where I was talking about my arm, I had it broken for me pretty severely in American football. And it was what they call a green stick fracture, and they had to cut out about 1/2 inch of bone out of the 2 forearm bones, the radius and the ulna. And when they lined them up, they didn't line them up right. So I can't put my palm up, and I don't have full, this is really tough. I feel so disabled here with my left arm. But I'm able to stir it slowly, but it just does not feel right. And mica, because it's that powder, wants to float, so you have to mix it a little. You have to have a good speed. You can't go too slow, because it'll never mix. You can't go too fast, because it'll pop out at you. But you got to go quick, and I got to do it with my right hand. Sorry. You want to scrape the sides as you're going. That's what I couldn't do with my left hand. Man. I still have use of my arm, and I still have use of most of my hand's dexterity. So For that, I am very grateful to those doctors. But it always makes my students laugh when they say, "Sir, put your palms up." And I say, "I can't." Ha ha ha. And they just have a heyday laughing at me. And I'm like, man, what has ever happened to being kind to people that I can still out-sing them? Okay, so now that I've got it mixed up pretty good, I can go a little bit quicker. But I have to keep stirring because that mica, even though you don't see it on the surface, still hasn't gone all the way down to the bottom. And I still got a little bit over on the side. So you have to keep stirring until you can stir no more. And no, you stir for a good 2 minutes. And then let it set for a bit. And you'll see if there's any unmixed mica, it'll come up in little bubble-like things to the surface, and it looks kind of cool, but it just means it needs to be mixed a little bit more. So I'm going to finish mixing this and let it sit for a minute or two, and then I'll show you what it looks like if I didn't mix it well. Okay, it's been sitting a little bit. You see how there's some of that is air bubbles. But every once in a while, you'll have a little bit that is not mixed. And you can hold it up and you can see see those? Those aren't air bubbles. Those are little pieces of mica that need to be stirred up again. So, I will stir it a little bit more. Now, if you don't get it all stirred up perfectly, that doesn't mean the end of the world. Before I got into the world of mica, when I first got into resin, I heard people talking about mica, and I'm like, man, that's expensive stuff, because I hadn't spent very much at all when I first started. I've spent probably more than I need to lately. But when I first used it, I'm like, oh, that is so cool looking, because all I'd used was resin dyes before, and those are just color, and it doesn't do anything like what mica does. But anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do this right-handed because my left hand will make a mess. I'm going to start from the back and just let it roll forward. Yeah, I think there's enough difference in color, but you see this will not glow in the dark. Now I'm going to put some in his front legs. In his hind legs, tail doesn't matter so much because it's pretty much UV resin the whole way. But I want a little bit of color in there because those are at a much lower level, or higher up is what I want to say. So if I fill this all the way to that area, I won't have a white belly. Let me go back a little bit further on his tail. Maybe a little of that will stay in his arms. Okay, so that gives me go a little bit more, because I want him to have a white belly, but I don't want too much white. So that's curling up in his legs a little bit. Okay, I better stop there. Okay, and I've got a drip coming down the edge of the cup. Okay, so I will figure out what I'm going to pour the rest of that into while this cures up, and then I'll figure out whether I'm going to do white glitter or not. I'm thinking probably I might. It would be kind of fun. I don't want it in his legs though. I want it just in the belly area. I may just throw a little bit on the top. Okay, come back after this cures up. I talked myself into it. Glow in the dark glitter. Now, I did a couple things off camera. I filled his feet with white UV resin and the end of his tail as well, because I didn't think that glitter would spread over there very well. So, I think I have just enough of this to go in and finish him off. Now I just want to make sure that, oh, there's a little bit that's not going under his chin area. I have to use that silicone tool to maneuver that bubble out. Can't have that happening. No. Well, yesterday I made some those tree frogs, the glow-in-the-dark tree frogs, and I had leftover glow-in-the-dark, so I made Siamese fighting fish glow-in-the-dark, and these little cherries that glow in the dark. I want to show you what they do. Turn off this light. Put them under the lamp for just a little bit. I do have ambient light in the room, but I don't think it's going to hurt anything. Oh, get them out. Look at the little cherries. And the beta fish. Yeah. Keep them in the dark there. Yeah, pretty. Don't throw away your leftover resin. I got some right now with a little bit of glitter in it. Don't know where I'm going to put it, but I can't put any more in there. Now that's not too white. Well, it's kind of late now. I don't want to go. Well, I could do white alcohol ink. I don't want to put any paste. Okay. Put you on pause. See what happens here. It can't hurt anything because it's going to be on the bottom. It's not spreading out as much as I would like it, but it might at least keep it with the impression that we have white underbelly. Okay, well, now gotta wait to unmold and then finish the video. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's unmolding time. Let's see what this baby looks like. These legs and toes always scare me. That break them off. Start back here. Okay. I didn't break there. That's good. Get out of that armpit. There we go. Whoosh. The head is out. That's a sound the mom wants to hear when she's giving birth. The head is out. Okay, let's see what this guy looks like. Get him in the camera, the whole camera. Dum, 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 dum. Pass. Okay. That's really close to that picture of that, what we had on that picture that I did a little research on him. He's looking ahead. You can see him. Now, let me see if I turn off this light. You can sort of see it. Okay, let me put you on pause. So here we are again, now turning light off. There's my fire leopard gecko. Yeah, baby. Okay, put your paws on one time, and I will turn it over and see what the bottom looks like. Don't know why I needed to pause him, because his underside, look at that. Yeah. My wife is still gonna hate this. She does not like lizards. But if you're an aficionado of the reptiles, this is pretty good. So, yeah. If you are able, I would love for you to support my resin business by buying me a coffee. The link is in the description. I could not get a Let's Resin coupon code at this time, so I did not put that on there, but I do have description or links to all of the things that I used in this video. I really thank you to all my subs. My goodness, it seems like just a month ago I hit 500 and I'm already over 850, so goodness. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it. Stick around. We'll see what else can happen with resin. This is Bass Resonator singing off.